And it's bang on 8 o'clock. It's a Thursday morning. Peter Swampy Marsh is here in the studios. It means one thing. It's SportsFeva time. Hello, Swampy.
Good morning,
welcome
mate.
back. I forgot what you look like.
Feels like still have a beard, still all there.
Yeah, good to see you, mate.
No, look, it feels like walking back into home. Good to be back in the studio and a massive week of sport that we've had since the last show as well.
What a great night last night. And we'll talk more about Origin, of course, in depth. So much to talk about. But it's been a huge week in sport. Of course, the Ashes are starting again tonight.
They are.
Test 2, so much drama around Test 1. And we've got a very special guest to talk to today.
Just about the best. Short of having Buff Lehman from the old dart, I reckon we've just about got the next best person to tell us what's going on.
Yes, Pup Clark. No, kidding. No, Robert Crash Craddock will be joining us. The best cricket writer there's ever been, ever. And where's he from, Swamp?
Right here.
Caboolture.
Right here.
Caboolture's own Robert Crash Craddock will join us. Quarter to 8, I think we're getting. Quarter to 9, sorry, we'll get Crash on. And another huge game of rugby league happened on the weekend as well.
I think, and I should be celebrating here. I want some fireworks sound effects and applause. And can you cue that up for me? Because I think I finally got one over on the Sunny Coast footy tipping.
Yeah, well done.
You're
fighting back, Swamp.
It was an enormous result, wasn't it, on the weekend, Matty? The Bribey Island Sea Eagles finally, or continuing really, the rot, I've called it the rot that set in at the Kawana Dolphins. A huge result there for the Bribey Island Sea Eagles, a big win. But one of the voice of Moreton Bay Rugby League, Big D, will be here he was at that game and he'll tell us all about it as well.
Yes, that's Kawana are unhappy. The Dolphins cry. I'll play that song. 5 minutes past 8 here on SportsFeva with Matthew and Swampy. And then Swampy, like we said, huge games of rugby league in the last week or so. None bigger than Bribey Island versus the defending premiers, the Kawana Dolphins. A lot of history there from a local point of view as well. And the voice of Moreton Bay Rugby League was there on the weekend to cover the clash for us here, and he joins us on the phone. The Big D, Darren Robertson. Good morning to you.
Morning, boys. Swampy. Matty, how are we, guys?
Yeah, we're really good this morning, but look, probably not as good as the Bribey Island Sea Eagles were last weekend down at Bernie Foley Oval. That's a massive result, both in terms of what it means for the competition, Big D, and the scoreline itself. For those who didn't know, 52-12 in favour of the Sea Eagles. How did you see it from the sideline?
I think you could describe it as being surreal. You're expecting this is a top-of-the-table clash, one of the games you want to get along for. And by half-time, Bribey had put a sizable lead of about 16 points in front, 16 to 20 in front. In fact, I think they may have been 22 in front at half-time. And you thought, well, Kawana's got to fight back. But the body language from Kawana was, at half-time, well, we're done for, we better look at the week ahead. And that's what panned out in the next 40 minutes. The Sea Eagles had a point to prove, by the looks of it, that they were a Bribey Island team. They weren't just playing there as the Sea Eagles. A little bit disappointing, the crowd for the day. It wasn't as good as what you'd expect. But everyone that was there enjoyed the boys perform as a Bribey Island team, and they just smashed them. Out wide was probably the most prolific point. Was Kawana had no answer once the ball got out past the centres.
Is that a tactic you think we might see employed by the other teams in the competition now, Big D? I mean, Caboolture, of course, got the win over Kawana last week and really upset this incredible run that the Dolphins have been on. Is there now a blueprint to beat the Dolphins?
Rob Bruff, as you know, is a very astute coach, and if a muck like me can see where the openings on the sideline are, I'm pretty sure Bruffy's going to be working on that double time with both the reserves and the A-grade team there at Kawana, because the reserves got a bit of a touch-up as well.
Big D, the thing that we've always said about Kawana, we've spoke to a lot of opposition coaches over the last 18 months about this Kawana side. They always thought Kawana were beatable, but Kawana just, their execution was always so good. They made very few errors. They completed their sets. So if it was always going to be the case if Kiwana don't particularly execute in their games, they were going to be vulnerable, and that's looked like it's how it unfolded in the last couple of weeks.
Well, Kiwana attacked very early in the game and had 2 or 3 opportunities right on the line, and just couldn't get across. The defence was just sensational from Bribey. And you see it in football all the time, and you guys watch a lot of rugby league, and you see it if you can withstand pressure for 3 or 4 sets and then get one crack at the opposition, it's on. So all of a sudden that's what happened. They sustained the 3 or 4 sets. Kiwana couldn't convert. I think there was they started to get that the loss of self-belief. They were on the back of a loss that they haven't had for 18 months. And then came through to it, and the Seagulls, the Bribey Island Seagulls, just put them away.
Big D, it certainly sounded like a wonderful clash, and it's opened up a lot of things in this competition now, where all of a sudden looked like Kiwana was going to do the minor premiership in a canter, and then we were going to see a scrap between the Seagulls and the Gympie Devils for second place, and all of a sudden there's 3 teams sitting on top of the ladder, and Gympie still haven't had a crack at the Dolphins yet, and going to make things very interesting to see where it's all going to pan out.
One of the big things that comes from it, Swampy, is that with that 40-point turnaround, what looked as a very comfortable for and against for Kiwana was just taken away in no time. And all of a sudden, Kiwana now, I think, about 9 or 10 points ahead on for and against from Bribey.
And, of course, the other results for the weekend, just running through them, Big D, Nambour getting the goods over Noosa 44-10. Maroochydore in probably a bit of a surprise result, really, doing the business over the Caboolture Snakes 14-6, which has some other implications for both of those sides. And Gympie doing it probably not as easy as some thought for the struggling Caloundra Sharks, but winning 30-22 over the Sharks there for the weekend as well. Really interesting position that leaves Caboolture now in Big D on even points with Maroochydore, and both of those teams are going to fight it out for what looks like the 4th spot for the finals.
And this Saturday, of course, Caboolture have got to take on a very informed Bribey Island Seagulls, which is not going to be an easy feat. So it's a mouth-watering encounter for all the Sunny Coast fans.
Oh, yeah, nothing better than a local derby, Big D. How you've seen both teams in action this year. Bribey, of course, probably the form team. Do you give Caboolture a chance?
Look, Caboolture is one of those teams, as you know, that when they put everything together, they can achieve great things. Where they've got to watch this Bribey Seagulls team is on the edges. Paul McEwen last week was just sensational. One of the best finishing efforts you'll see from a winger. Coming in when he had to come in, staying out, just reading the opposition plays very well. So those defending outside backs are going to have to defend very well. Obviously, we all know that games are won in the forwards, but these guys can put a big score on you if the sliding defence isn't up to scratch.
Oh, like you said, it is a mouth-watering encounter. I hope there's a big crowd out there on Saturday night. But Big D, thank you for your time this morning. We love always talking local rugby league with you, and what a great night it was for Queensland as well last night. Big D, thanks for joining us on 101.5.
See you, boys. Now, I hope you guys have already bought the flowers for the partners to let them know that they're not going to see you over the next 5 days with the Ashes and the Open golf on, and of course the Reds playing in the finals. Already done, is it, boys?
All sorted, mate.
All sorted. Delivered at lunchtime, Big D. So she's distracted all afternoon. So we're set.
And for any other partners out there, we'll sign off a SportsFeva,
free pass
for anyone else listening that needs a bit of help out there.
I'll be looking for that for, I think, over the next few days. It's a great encounter, great time of year for sportsmen, isn't it?
It is. It's not real good for sleep, but a great time of the year. Thanks, Big D.
See you, boys.
Good on you, mate.
Cheers.
The Big D, Darren Robinson there, Swampy, talking Sunshine Coast Gympie Rugby League, and that'll be a great clash on the weekend.
Yeah, running through the rest of the clashes, Matty, and we probably need to do some tips here. Now, you've got me by 2 now after last weekend's result.
Yep.
Bribey Island Kiwana, the only difference there, I finally got one back, so I'm really keen to get the tips out this week. So all kicks off, of course, on Saturday night with Caboolture taking on Bribie Island. What a massive clash that's going to be for both sides. So important in terms of ladder position. Under 18, 315, reserve grade at 445, and A grade at 630 at the Snake Pit at Centenary Lakes. Matty, where are you tipping? Bribie. Yeah, I can't go away from the Seagulls.
Sorry, Chook.
Yes, apologies, Chook. Look, no team beats Kawana 52 to 12 without being in some pretty hot form. So the Seagulls for me there as well. Second, absolutely mouth-watering clash for the weekend is, of course, I spoke about it earlier, Gympie haven't had their crack at Kawana yet in whatever wounded state they're in. They're going to get it on Saturday night at Gympie. So Gympie v Kawana at home. Oh, this is hurting me.
Well, Bruffy, what's happening, brother? I don't know. You weren't familiar with the Family Feud program, Swampy, but there used to be 3 strikes and you lost out.
So
Boom,
Bruffy's got
boom,
2.
boom. I think he'll get a. That was the good sound.
Back.
Yeah, so they'll get the money this
No,
week.
look, the Devils, they can sniff blood in the water. They're beaten by Caboolture, beaten by Bribie. Chance to move ahead on the competition ladder here. The Devils, for me, there at home will get over the line. 2 fantastic clashes there. Follows up with Maroochydore taking on Nambour at Maroochydore. Good win by the Swans over the Snakes last weekend, Matty. But a strong win for Nambour over Noosa.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go?
Who are you going?
Look, I'll take first here. I think Maroochydore might do the business here over Nambour, which is going to put a whole lot of pressure on the Caboolture Snakes to also get a win because they'll be then no longer even and fighting out for that 4th place.
I'll go Nambour.
Nambour as well, so 2 changes there. And followed up by probably not the best class to finish the round for the 2 teams in a bit of strife this season, struggling. Noosa will be taking on Caloundra at Noosa. I think Caloundra getting 22 points on Gympie is no mean feat. I think the Sharks there might do it over the Pirates.
No, a pirate will always beat a shark.
There you go. So everything different bar the Caboolture Bribie Island clash. That's very strange.
That puts you back in it, Swamp.
Oh, look, this could be a dramatic turnaround.
I don't think so. I'll probably lead by 6. So we'll see how that unfolds. Now, Swampy, Sunshine Coast, Gympie Rugby League, as much as we love it, put it aside for a minute. State of Origin last night, huge game. And I said to someone, it was a fantastic game, one of the best games of rugby league you'll see. But it's funny, often, you can look back on highlights of a game and kind of sum it up, a great try or you've really got to watch the full 80 minutes of that game last night to get the feel of the game. Any of the highlights that you've seen, a couple of the tries were really soft, to be honest. If you look back at highlights and think, well, that was a soft try, but it was one of the greatest games of rugby league I've ever seen.
It was brilliant, Matty, and I couldn't agree with you more there. There was no tremendous flick pass that the series is going to be remembered by or an incredible line break, but there was 80 minutes of absolutely bruising defence. 2 teams going absolutely toe-to-toe, throwing all they had at each other. There were some tremendous moments in there, but geez, what grit and determination by Queensland. And they were just getting the back end of that second half, the back end of the first half and the early stages of the second half, they were so far behind, not on the scoreboard, but I suppose on the momentum tally, and they found a way just to stick in it. Their goal line defence was outstanding, and just about every time it forced New South Wales to panic, and they weren't able to really find an attacking play that looked to threaten. There was always fair tackle, a couple of passes went too wide or too long, and that just speaks volumes of the heart and the grit and the determination of that Queensland defence. And as rugby league fans, you like to see the razzle-dazzle, but that sometimes games like that are just as good.
Oh, it was so gritty by Queensland, as you said, Swamp. They just put enough pressure on New South Wales constantly, knowing New South Wales would get to the back end of that game and start to doubt themselves, and that's what happened. And I honestly think the New South Wales selectors will look back and think, and I know there's some New South Wales fans that thought, we had no Gallen, we had no Hayne, and they were big outs. I'm not shying away from that, but Queensland, played what was in front of them. Look, New South Wales are taking Myth Pearce into the game.
It astounds me that he is their most capped halfback I don't know how they continue to persist. And as much as he's an effort guy, Mitchell Pearson, he's tremendous for the Roosters. I think that they finally got to bite the bullet and say that he's just not up to snuff when he's going against Cooper Cronk and Jonathan Thurston.
Well, the thing, Swampy, is too that they had Reynolds from South Sydney a chance. Now that next year, going, staring down the barrel of 8 defeats, they've got it. If they go Reynolds, that you're blooding a new halfback. He could have had 12 months. He could have had a series under his belt for a tilt next year, even if they got beat. So that's what they're looking at now.
Yeah, I agree. I think Reynolds comes in this year. You can give him 2 series to work in, but they might still be able to give him those 2 series to work in. But all of a sudden, it could be looking down nine defeats, and he's a tremendous young player, Adam Reynolds. But now he's almost an automatic selection, and when players start to have those kinds of things like, I'm probably going to be playing Origin later in the year, how does that play with his own club form? We've seen plenty of players burst onto the scene and not quite have as good a years as they have before. So, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out over the next 12 months for Adam Reynolds, whether he's still the player that he is now. So big questions there for New South Wales. Again, I don't even think Maloney is an automatic. We both saw what Todd Carney was able to do for the Sharks against the Broncos on Friday night. And that was a line ball call at the start of the series. I think Carney's got to have the edge now.
They had to go. Carney was close to, he didn't fire in Origin last year, but in that game 3, he nearly got him across the line. Why they didn't pick him after one series, it got me beat. But good luck to him. It worked in Queensland's favour for sure. And just quickly I know one of our NRL analysts, and he'd be hurting this morning because he loves the New South Wales and he loves Robbie Farah. And look, Farah was good, but geez, he made some bad decisions. Yep. Kicking in late in the game, early a couple of times, he could have put Queensland on the back foot. And then that last, I know there's only a minute to go, but there was a minute to go when he's kicked on tackle 0.
2-3 tackles there, grab 10, 15 metres, and then give someone enough time, so word him up on tackle 1, say 2 tackles time, get ready to go. He kicked very, very early, and it let Queensland wind down the clock, and it was regardless if McManus was interfered with, he was never going to pull that ball down. So.
Yeah, but you are allowed to attack. Tackle an attacking player in the air. So I know there's a few New South Welshmen blowing up on social media about that last night. But if you're a defending player, you can tackle someone in the air. So
can't go talking Origin without talking about one of Moreton Bay's best, Brent Tate.
I thought you were going to say the streaker was from Moreton Bay. We'll get to the streaker. No. We will finish on Tatey. Let's talk the streaker.
The streaker is an absolute drongo, Matty, and I've warned you about this. I've got a spray coming up, so you might want to turn the...
We're going to put him in the corner with Warner. That's our new segment.
Warner. Get in there.
If we want to give someone the blast, we're going to put them in the corner with Warner.
I'm going to put a few of my colleagues in the media in there this morning as well, because the only reason that someone like that jumps on the field is so they get their front page, their face on the front pages and all across Australia. And the best thing we can do is forget about it. Give him no time at all. He's going to trot off to court now and get charged, and that's what needs to happen. Right. By putting him on the front page of everywhere, it's exactly what he wanted out of it, and it's only an encouragement for some other drongo to come in and do it again.
Exactly, Swamp. The blokes are drongo. The security guards, that's not good enough, I'm afraid. That is atrocious. We've seen what can happen in tennis.
The field.
He was being a drongo, and that's all he was doing. It could have been a lot worse, Swamp.
It could have been.
We've seen what's happened in tennis, of course, the Monica Seles. That is just not good enough.
Couldn't agree with you more. And it happened on Channel 9. They lingered on. It was tough because they had to go a video referee decision to see what was going to happen, but they lingered on him as well. We see in cricket, the camera pulls out to a wide shot of the ground and you see nothing of the intruder while they're on the pitch, and it's because it takes away the power that they have when they do that, and I think they should have done the same thing.
The point was made last night, maybe on Fox Sports, I think I was watching. What if Queensland were down by 2 in that situation? Look,
we're probably lucky that they weren't. I don't think there was a big Hollywood act in the New South Wales player tripping over them. I think he came back in, and I think there was a genuine opportunity for New South Wales to tackle. I think it was Matt Scott that ended up diving over. But I cannot see how, with that interruption that close to the play, that all players have the presence of mind to be able to react to it. So I think the right decision was made. But, God, you'd hate to see any kind of game or any kind of series be decided like that, and it would have been terrible and it would have been unfortunate, but I think you would have had to make the same decision again. You cannot let play continue with something like that happening on the field. So we're probably just lucky that Queensland were in the lead. Had he not been there, may have been likely to score anyway, and you can't say that New South Wales would have been any more likely to score, or that Queensland wouldn't have forced a repeat set and got another set.
But it's something that should have never happened. If he got a metre over the fence, he should have been smashed. That's not good enough for security guards. But anyway, that's in the vault. We're not going to talk about him ever again. He's in the corner with Warner. He probably even deserves... This is how Warner's ahead of him. So that's...
He is streets ahead
of him. But Moreton Bay's own, if you had a copy of the Redcliffe Herald, Tate goes for 8. Just an amazing player throughout his career. Look, I'd say that is curtains on his Origin career. Tate, he's in the twilight years of his career, but he got man of the match. Probably on that game alone, did some great things. Don't get me wrong, but I think Matty Scott was very unlucky not to be the man of the match, or Justin Hodges. But Tate, I kind of just think it was a Tatey, this is your Origin career man of the match, well done type of thing award. He got the Peter Jackson medal as well for giving the most to Queensland throughout the series. For a boy born in Roma, growing up in the Moreton Bay region, it's just been an amazing story.
One of the most enduring things that sticks in my mind about Brett Tate, and I know there was a bit of hoo-ha in the meantime, was when he was in the Australian sheds, and I think it was his knee, and just how shattered a man he was, that it could be his rugby league career over. It still sticks in my chest just seeing how just devastated this player, this man was, but something he loved doing so much was possibly snatched away from him, and he's come back from some tremendous injury setbacks throughout his career, and is playing as good as he ever has, and bounced back from a dodgy start last night too as well. Didn't go well, not with that first knock on, but really was a tremendous partner for Billy Slater there at times at the back, and took a lot of pressure off Billy. Made some great runs, and what more can be said? He's just one of Queensland's best and one of Moreton Bay's best, and of course right up there with one of the best to come out of the Dolphins alongside with Petro.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a great man, and I just don't know a player that's fought back as many times as he has. And it was thrown into the Origin arena so many years ago. After I think he'd only played 11 games or something like that, they took a punt on him so many years ago. He missed the early part of this Queensland dynasty through injury so many times, given his opportunity back last year, and he's just been enormous for Queensland. One
player I want to quickly mention that really stood out to me, Matty, was Daly Cherry Evans. I think he's just about got to be an automatic selection in the vein that Cooper Cronk was in future series. He was so crucial and provided such spark for Queensland when he came on the field last night, and took that run. I think it was on the second or third tackle, took a run, and the presence of mind to be able to win a penalty, and God, that took so much pressure off, and he was good elsewhere as well. So he was tremendous.
This kid's a halfback, played nothing but halfback for the last. I've been following his career for the last 4 years in the Sunny Coast Grim. Played nothing but halfback in the biggest arena in rugby league. Comes on in that second half, playing second row, a little bit, that back row type of position, and Queensland were out on his feet. Every set he was on, he took a hit up.
Yep.
Just rolled the sleeves up and thought, no, I'm going to take it up like, a front rower here. And what an effort. He didn't get a lot of metres, but he gave the front rowers a spell.
I don't think his contribution to the game can be measured in
in stats.
Last night. He was tremendous, and I love that we've essentially replaced Cooper Cronk on the bench now. I think he's an automatic selection, and he earns his time there to come on, spend his time on the bench like Cronk did as Lockyer was playing, and in 2-3 years' time, might not even be that long, when JT decides to hang up the headgear, we've got a tremendous replacement there, and he'll be have 10 Origin games under his belt and be fantastic.
It's an un-Queensland-like thing to do, but don't be surprised if he jumps Cooper Cronk in the order, and Cronk goes back to that other thing. But I'll tell you what, Daly Cherry Evans is one hell of a player. There's only so long you'll be able to keep him out of that starting side. There you go, Swamp, you've heard it. You've heard it here first.
While you're in the mind of making some big calls, looking at we've answered a few questions about the New South Wales side this morning, a few about the Queensland side. Is this the last Origin that we'll see Brent Tate and perhaps even Justin Hodges play, Matty?
It's hard to say. There was talk in the media that they'd retire from Origin. Look, and then they've come out and said no, and Tatey made a great comment last night. He said, well, they're going to pick me to play Queensland, I'm not going to throw a jersey back in their face. So, look, it'll all depend on early season form next year. I think there'll be a quiet word if they're not quite in the form that they want them to be, and depending on the form of the other options available, like a Justin O'Neill or Dane Gagai, there might be a quiet word said to these guys saying, look, you're not going to make it, make yourself unavailable.
And not that I think either of those players wasn't up to snuff last night at all. I think Hodges had one of his best games for Queensland in a long time, and for mine was the man of the match. He was absolutely outstanding. But I think they're both 31, pushing 32 next year. Both got some pretty battle-weary bodies that they're carrying. So very interesting to see if both of those guys are still there. Of course, Meninga has come out this morning and said, "Forget about it. I'll be here as long as Queensland wants me here." So there was some rumblings that he wasn't guaranteeing that he would continue after the series.
He says that every year, Mel.
He does. He loves a trick, Big Mel. So he. I think there'll be some question marks over those two boys if, like you said, early season form. Yeah. But we've got 12 months to 12 months.
It's a fair headache to have, isn't it, to see if you're going to have a couple of grades come back. But there's some good young players coming through, and look, Mel made the tough decisions this year to bring Papali, and Cherry Evans had to let Harrison and Shilo go, and look, it's all about. And that's a great thing Mel's done with. Sometimes in these dynasties, when you're winning so long, and we've seen it with Australian cricket teams, you can't make the hard decision because you feel that you've got to, play this, faith in some great players in this respect. But you need to continue to bring in the new blood. Otherwise, you'll lose 8 series in a row if you don't bring in these new guys. And Queensland have done it really well. Probably, and obviously better than New South Wales.
Papali limited last night, I thought.
But he pulled off some bell ringers. He really did.
He had a couple of good, strong runs as well. And he looks... this is what sticks out to me about Papali and Cherry Evans. When you put them in there, even if you don't notice them, you don't notice them because they're not out of place. They just slot right in. And all of a sudden you'll see them, and all of a sudden they're doing all the hard work, and they don't stick out like a sore thumb. And that's the big thing. If they're not doing outstanding things early, they're fitting in that arena, and it's so hard to do. And one could argue Mitchell Pearce has probably never done. So that really bodes well for both of them in the future.
Yeah, no, they're amongst a couple of names that will be the next crop of Queensland Origin legends. It's bang on 8:30. Time for a song. We'll be back with more sport. 21 minutes to 9 here on SportsFeva with Matthew and Swampy. And Swampy, we've been talking about this guy this morning. I'm very excited to have a chat to him.
Yes, he's a member at Pine Rivers, and look, I'm sure all the members there know him, but for those who don't, we have Brad Russell Jr. on the phone with us this morning. Good morning to you, Brad.
How you going, guys?
Look, we're really good here this morning, mate. Now, look, for those who don't know Brad, if Brad's playing behind you at the Pine Rivers Golf Club and you're putting out on the green, generally you need to look out because this is a man who can hit a golf ball a very, very, very long way. Now, Brad, correct me if I've got these statistics wrong, but when you're really letting it rip, you can drive a golf ball about 350 metres and you're averaging about 290 to 295 metres. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, eh? Yeah.
Mate, what goes through your head when you're on the tee there? Is there much that goes through? Is there a process you go through? How do you hit a ball that long?
Well, just go, I don't know, just clear everything and then just rip it, just want to kill the ball.
It's a pretty good tactic to go with. Brad, when did you first pick up, when did your golfing career start? When did you realise, geez, I can drive this ball a fair way?
When I was about 12, I was just like, there was nothing better to do, so I went and started playing golf with my cousin, and yeah, it was fun, loved it. And then when I was about 16, I started to hit the ball a long way. And now we're going to hit it further.
Now, it's of course it is only one part of the game, Brad. And what do you normally play for your handicap, mate?
It's 0.
0, there you go. So he's a pretty handy golfer outside of Matty. And I believe your best round around Pine Rivers is a very, very impressive 66. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Fantastic. How often are you finding the fairway when you're really, as you said, wanting to kill the ball and gripping it and letting it rip?
Oh, probably about 50% because the fairway's pretty tight out there because it's like bounces and can go in the trees and all that. So kicks everywhere out there at Pine Rivers.
Now, mate, is there any par 4 at Pine Rivers that you can't reach off the tee?
I think there's probably about 2 or 3.
And is that have you driven all of them? Is it sort of, are those couple sort of conditioned on a tailwind behind you?
No, probably not the long ones.
Is that the fourth?
One that I can't get, and then there's one that's got water that you got to hit it down there.
Now,
reach it.
Now, of course, you happen to run into a fellow big hitter. He was the 2011 Long Drive Australian champion at a corporate day at the Capera Golf Club, Brad, and I understand you took him on for a little bit of a challenge, did you, mate?
Yeah, I did. I was just like, I got up on the tee, and I'm like, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you. Smashed it, and somehow it went further than his.
And what was it like to take on a bloke who, you know, is the Australian champion there, mate, and give him a fair run for his money? Did you surprise yourself?
Oh, I did, actually, because I was expecting him to do a lot further than me, but because he had a better driver and all that, but he didn't.
Now I understand he's taken you under his wing of sorts, mate. Of course, the long drive champion is Jason Atkins, and you're preparing yourself to compete in some of those long drive championships.
Yeah, he did. He took me under his wing, so we haven't started yet, but we're going to start soon.
Hey, what kind of training I imagine it's a very different trip to the range than a regular golfer would have, Brad, when you're training just for a long drive. What kind of things are you likely to do different?
Swing a lot harder.
It's generally what it all boils down to now. Is it? I believe it's next month sometime. You'll be heading off to those championships. Is that right, Brad?
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. Look, mate, it's been fantastic to have you on the show this morning. It's always wonderful to when we can find entirely other ways to enjoy these games and sports that we love. And it's certainly, if nothing else, Brad, it's been a warning to everyone going around Pine Rivers that if you're on the green putting out, maybe just take a brief look over your shoulder to see if Brad's behind you. Thanks so much for your time this morning, mates, and best of luck for those long drive competitions coming up in August.
Yeah, no, thank you, guys.
No worries at all, Brad. Best of luck.
Good on you, Brad. Cheers, mate.
Bye.
Brad Russell Jr. there, Swamp, and look, simplifies the game. I've tried to play golf for a long time. People show me different grips.
Swing harder, mate.
Swing harder and try and kill the ball.
There you go.
I've been doing it wrong.
No, what you need to do now, put on a very nice set of clothes, some nice slacks, some shoes, go find a golf club somewhere and just preach that, and you'll be a happy days. You'll be no more sports fever.
No, I've tried to always just kill the ball, and I'd always just slice it. And anyway, bad. I used to play Pine Rivers a bit at school. Swamp.
Maybe you need to get you out there, Brown, and we give him a test.
Yeah.
Do you reckon you give him a shake?
No. No, I don't. No hope.
Best of luck to Brad, though, in those long drive competitions. His stats compare very favourably when you put him up against some of the average drives that with the pros, of course, there's a lot more pressure on them. But, for example, this year, Adam Scott's averaging about 275 off the tee. Jason Day, about the same. Tiger, about 270. So when Brad's averaging 290 to 295, he's, of course, not in those kind of competitions like those guys are, but compares very favourably. So best of luck to the young man.
British Open tip, Swamp.
Ernie Els is a big threat.
Ernie?
Big easy, defending champion in some great form. Could be a threat, but Phil Mickelson is also in some very hot form leading him, Matty. So I'm going to go Ernie or Phil.
No Aussies?
No.
Wow. Jesus.
Sorry.
You're not bad, Swamp.
Look, Scotty will be the best hope. He's got the major monkey off his back now, so he'll be the best hope. But I think Ernie or Phil could be a red hot guy.
You're not real solid, Swamp. You're not real solid. Time now for a word from our sponsors. 13 minutes to 9 here on SportsFeva 101.5. Swamp, time now to talk to a favourite guest of ours. We've had him on the show a couple of times over the years. He's Caboolture's own. He's here to talk to us about the Ashes. It's a big good morning to Robert Crash Craddock.
Great, Matt and Pete. Yeah, look, good on you, boys. It's nice to see the radio station going well, and you know how much I love Caboolture, and I still get up there regularly with Mum and Dad living down at Warraba Creek, and I wouldn't live anywhere else.
Jeez, I hope John and Beth are tuned in this morning to hear you make a triumphant return, Robert, to the radio. But look, plenty to talk about on the cricket front. And before we look ahead to tonight, we might take a look back on the first test. Did it play out at all like you expected it to? Very, very close on the fifth day and only 14 runs short. Did you think we were ever going to get that close?
No, look, only its volatility I saw coming. I just saw it. When you've got teams with better bowlers than batsmen, you get these topsy-turvy, hang on to the seat of your pants test matches, and that's what's happened. That trend, in my view, will continue right throughout these 10 tests that Australia and England are playing against each other. I thought we were unlikely to get a target of 311, but you know what? The bottom line is, in both innings, the bottom order scored more than the top order. And when that happens, you ask yourself, did we really deserve to win this test? And the answer for Australia is probably not. I thought the DRS levelled itself out, and I thought Australia batted okay. But look, here's the thing. When your top order continue to fail, you don't deserve anything in cricket. You deserve nothing. So they've just got to get moving.
Of course, probably one of the best sports stories in general for the year was the emergence of Ashton Agar, the surprise selection, and didn't the young man just deliver? And he really looks like a cricketer that could find himself at home at this level for a long time.
Well, absolutely. He's just, look, and here's the thing. He's a left-arm spinner. No left-arm spinner, finger spinner for Australia has taken more than 80 test wickets. Now, just think of that stat. Think of how long Australia's been playing Test cricket in 1877 till now, and no one has taken more than that. So it's a hard trade. He'll do it well. My feelings are his batting will keep his bowling afloat at Test level. So he could be a player that changed the way Australian teams are selected. If he's good enough to bat, say, at 7, well, then you bat maybe Brad Haddon at 6. Sack a batsman and play Nathan Lyon as well and 3 fast bowlers. He could make this Australian cricket team perfectly balanced, the balance that you dream about but never get.
Yeah, of course, you spoke that you only expected the volatility of the series, and we got plenty of that before even any cricket had been played, with the dramatic sacking of Mickey Arthur and Buff Lehman being brought into the side. Very limited time to have any kind of preparation with these boys, but are there touches of Darren Lehman that you're seeing emerge in this Australian side already?
Yes, there are, but there's also touches of Mickey Arthur. I think he was working on the team really tightening up, with its bowling lines, and that's what it got, and also really fighting hard with the bat, and that's what the tail did. So, but there's also, sense of Darren Lehman in the selection room, Ashton Agar, I think, that's a Darren Lehman sort of roll the dice, let's see what the kid's got sort of selection. So he is making an impact, but he's, batsman to batsman. They've got to learn how to play the swing bowling of Jimmy Anderson. So, isn't he pretty to watch, boys? That outswinger, that in-swinger, the endurance, the hostility, it's just wonderful. And a few years ago, he was a veritable lightweight performer with no guts at all, but they've toughened him up, and now he's just phenomenal. Oh, gosh, I enjoy watching him play.
You could watch the ball that got Clark in the first innings over and over and over again and never get sick of it. It was just an absolute peach, and look, he has to be the danger man for England now. And look, when he went off before lunch on the 5th day, you thought we might have been in with a chance, but as soon as he took that ball in the first over, you got that sinking feeling in your stomach, didn't you?
You did, you really did. We miss out all the time in short finishes. We've just got a painful history. I was talking to Alan Border the other day, and his palms started to sweat when it was getting close, because he's been through so many of those sort of tight finishes. But you know what? It's funny. In those sort of run chases, it often looks as if the batting team will get there, but they rarely do. And, the wicket didn't scuff up as expected. There was no variation in bounce, which killed Graham Swan, the spinner. He just couldn't get the ball to do anything unexpected. Spinners get wickets like that. So, yeah, we got there in the England got there in the end. And my feelings are, guys, we'll lose this series, but we'll win in Australia. And the last day of the Sydney Test, M. Clark will be holding the Ashes, or a replica of the Ashes, above his head.
I love that thought. Looking ahead to tonight, Crash, there's some questions still on the Australian team. I think the biggest question marks hover over the head of Ed Cowan and Mitchell Starc. Do you replace one? Do you replace both? How do you see that playing out?
Yeah, look, it's a good question, and at the moment I haven't got the answer. But yeah, Usman Khawaja is a chance of coming in for Cowan, who played 2 shots that he was specifically hired not to play in the first test. That's his role, not to play those shots. very culpable. And you're one down in the series too. I think that changes your thought processes. We are now official. Well, we're 1.5 down because they hold the Ashes. For us to get the Ashes back, we've got to win 2 tests. That's the simple scenario. Is Ed Cowan the man to take us forward with go-ahead of cricket? My answer is no. I would replace him. And I'd also bring in Ryan Harris in place of Stark. I just think that, look, his skill work with the ball is phenomenal, and I rate him so highly. I've always felt Ryan Harris will win us 1 test in this series, that he will be a man of the match in 1 test. There's a prediction. If he's physically sound, which can never be taken for granted, but he's that good. So and you know what? Guess who his favourite supporter is? Darren Lehman. So, there you go and there you go.
England, of course, have named the same starting or the same 12. Are we likely to see a Graham Onions or even a Tim Bresnan come in for Stephen Finn, who did his very level best to bring Australia back into that game in the first test?
Yeah, it's a very good question. As always, your questions are, boys, beautifully researched, so congratulations. Look, I would probably play Bresnan. I just think Finn, I spoke to Chris Rogers, who's Finn's captain at Middlesex, about a month ago, and he said, oh, geez, Finn's struggling. And this is a month ago. So he's a brittle sort of bowler at times, and I would not play him. I'd put Bresnan in. Whether they will, I don't know. But here's the thing. This is why I think Australia will win the Ashes. Tim Bresnan and Graham Onions are average sort of bowlers, who would not get a game for Australia. And yet, behind them boys, there's no one. There's no one. When England have another injury, they are in trouble. And if it's an injury to Jay Anderson, they're in huge trouble. That to me is the passageway for Australia back in the series and to win the Ashes on home soil next summer. That's, I think, how we're going to do it. Short term, if this interview was being conducted tomorrow, we might be saying, Australia bowled out for 160. Wouldn't be surprised at all. But eventually, I believe we will wear this team down.
It's a very good thought, hopefully, for the summer. And one very last thing before we let you go, Crash. We can't let you duck out without having a thought on Stuart Broad and the walking, not walking DRS controversy that he's created for himself there. Which side of the fence do you land on with young Broad?
I couldn't get angry at him because he just stood his ground. There's so much moral contradictions in sport. Like Brad Haddon admitted he hit the ball, okay? He hit it. He said it. I hit the last wicket. But he stood there, as Stuart Broad did. So are we saying that our morality is decided by how thick your edge was? Is that right? If you get a thick edge like Stuart Broad, you must walk, which no English batsman's done since 1971. But if you get a thin edge like Brad Haddon, you're allowed to try it on. Is that what we're saying? Is that right? So I have trouble getting angry, I must admit. That's my feelings. Although I love stirring up, the palms. It's great fun.
I'd hate to play poker against him. He had a fair poker face, didn't he?
Well, once again, it's a terrific point you've made. That is the key to the whole thing. It was the best acting performance ever seen. Like, he just stood there, took 2 steps back, stared at the umpire as if to say, well, normally there's an unguarded moment. Normally there's a moment where he either looks up or looks behind or takes a step towards the pavilion. It's some admission of guilt, but it never came. It never came. And that's what did Alim Dar in the end. Like, he needed to see that. Like, he it wasn't, people saying, how straightforward was it? Well, it's difficult. The ball came off, his bat was about half a metre in front of the wicketkeeper's gloves. It is not easy, it's just not that easy. But, that it spiced up the series, boys. And I've got to say, I'm just loving watching it. It's just fantastic.
It is an absolutely tremendous time to be a cricket tragic Crash. And we've got from now until really the start of next year, it's just an absolute buffet of fantastic cricket. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on this morning to talk through it all with us. We'll have to get you back on as the series roll on. But thank you very much for your thoughts this morning, Crash Craddock.
Pleasure, and I must say, I always enjoy your interviews. They're full of great questions and better questions than I would have ever asked. So good on you, boys. Keep up the passion, and we'll speak soon.
Good on you, Crash. Thanks, mate.
Pleasure. See you, boys.
Robert Crash Craddock, Caboolture's own Swamp. I'll tell you what, there's a push to build a statue of Keith Urban. I want a statue of Crash somewhere in Caboolture.
With a notebook.
Pen,
shoulder.
pen, yeah.
There you go.
And Dave Warner tweeting somewhere around it.
Very small in the corner.
He is.
Look, as just like Rupert McCall fires me up for a Dolphins game, Matty, Crash Craddock fires me up for an Ashes test. I'm so looking forward to tonight. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, yeah, very excited. He's a great man. He's a Crash Craddock. And like we said, anywhere.
Call on the test. Call on the test. Where are you landing?
No, we'll win this one.
We'll win this one?
Yep.
Call on who's coming in. Does Ryan Harris come in?
Oh, well, you know, as a Queenslander, I'd love the two Queensland imports to come in, Uzi and Rhino.
Is Uzi a Queenslander?
Yeah, he's played for Queensland, mate. Or if you're going to claim Ryan Harris, we can claim Uzi. If we're going to claim Borth.
Harris has been here a bit longer.
Oh, he's played for Queensland. Who's he playing for at the moment? Queensland. He's a Queenslander, mate. Please.
Mate, please.
You claim him when you can, Swamp.
I suppose by that logic, I'm sure was probably blowing up listening if I'm not claiming.
Well, they claim Greg Inglis, but I'll tell you, that just quickly, years and years ago, it was about circa 94, they pinched Kenny Nagas. He was a Bundaberg boy. He picked New Zealand. He only played 2 games for him. That's not our fault he didn't kick on like Inglis did. If you're going to start it, we'll finish it. Anyway, like the show is about to finish. No time to talk about Dolphins. They play on the weekend, the Redcliffe Dolphins, that is, of course, against Burleigh Bears. Best luck to them. Thanks again to all our guests this morning. The Big D, the voice of Moreton Bay Rugby League, Darren Robinson.
Brad
Russell, our Happy Gilmore of the area, great golfer, and Caboolture's own Robert Crash Craddock. Thanks for coming back in the studio, Swamp. Stand by now for the national news.